Hello.
Comrade.
So you can hear me?
I can hear you perfect. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Nice. How you doing?
Okay, I just got home from work.
How was work?
Fine.
I just had a big fat burrito. I burnt the rice a little bit, but I just scraped it off. You know what? Life is hard, but we make it through somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So are you broadcasting now?
oh yeah, I should have said that right up front. Yep, I am broadcasting live, and people are streaming in.
Okay, great. So what do you want to talk about?
Oh, well, okay. So first of all, a little bit of context. So apparently your viewer said that you should talk with me, and then I saw that, and then we talked and very briefly stinted. And you have to understand, the majority of conservatives that I engage with, whether I talk to them directly or just review their YouTube videos or whatever, are subhumanly stupid. They're basically like lizards. So I thought, the same of you, naturally, as one does. But then I was informed by some members of my audience that you're actually intelligent. So I looked over your content on YouTube and such, and, well, there you go. It turns out, hey, pretty cool. And I had never heard of distributionism before, so I hopped on...
Distributism. But,
distributism.
Yeah, it's just sort of a Catholic third way, I won't say philosophy. It's a defunct economic plan, but there are people who are working on trying to get it more workable and get sort of real-world examples going. I kind of have a large video that I owe my followers on the topic of modern-day attempts at getting distributist-type systems going.
Yeah, I did all my fancy pants Wikipedia resources
Obviously,
coming into this. That's the
most people consider Mondragon to be distributist because it was created under the same principles of Rare and Avarum. But I don't know if people are interested in stuff like that.
There are worse ways.
Mondragon,
there are worse ways to economize Christian conservatism. I had a lot of fun reading over the Wikipedia article. Not exactly a 4-year degree on the subject, mind, but I like learning. So we gotta open up on this, okay? Why'd you get so goddamn mad at me when I asked you if you don't like black and gay people?
Well, you accused me of something without a basis.
Well, you said you don't like progressivism. Typically, progressives work to...
No, I'm an anti-progressive.
Okay.
And then you accused me of hatred.
Well, I asked you. You have to understand. We live in. We live in tumult.
You accused me.
Yes, it was.
I'm not
going to
sorry.
accusatory.
I am going to hold you to the words you used.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can. I mean, I can stand by accusation.
You accused me.
Oh sure.
Okay, so usually when I open up to somebody and then I immediately meet an accusation and they haven't even said 3 words to me, I don't know what friends you hang around with, but third sentence in accusation, not a good opener.
All right, well, here was the context I came into it with. When I think of progressivism or progressives, I think of people actively working to make society more egalitarian. You said you didn't support progressivism or progressives.
They don't believe in egalitarianism.
Right. And typically, people who don't believe in egalitarianism tend to have problem with social minorities. So, and I ask you again...
Well, can I ask you a question? Do you consider yourself a racist?
Not even slightly.
Not even slightly?
Nope.
Because, I've just finished reading a progressive book called Right Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. Have you heard of this book?
I have not.
It's gotten great praise by NPR, and she says in that book that a person who's not a person of color saying they're not a racist is itself an explicit form of racism.
Yeah, I could defend that
attempt to obscure structural racism in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So
I could defend that statement.
By that very statement, you said you're outing yourself to me as a racist by a person who's a professor of sociology and an expert on racism herself.
You do realize that just because she posited that opinion doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with it just because I'm a left-leaning person, right?
Well, I don't know.
I feel like you're making an active effort to obfuscate a very simple question, and I'm sincerely asking you.
It's not a simple question.
It is. Wait,
by your admission, you're a racist. So if it's such a simple question...
By my own admission, I'm what?
Let me ask the question. If it's such a simple question, what this whole racism accusation means, then how come one of the most prominently recognized leaders on diagnosing racism would essentially identify you as a racist?
I don't care. I'll engage with that criticism when I get to it.
I don't
Buddy,
care.
you
But
are
this is
you
the
whoa
thing,
whoa whoa
like,
no hold on because you're what wait your whataboutising so fucking hard. I'm asking you a very simple question and you are bending and breaking your neck to avoid answering it. I'm well aware of leftist literature that suggests that the implicit statement of a white person that you're not racist might imply an unwillingness to address systemic racism. I'm familiar with the literature, okay? But you cannot answer this very simple question.
What?
Do you consider yourself a racist?
I don't believe the word has any meaning.
Oh my god. I can't. Every time I talk to a conservative, it's like pulling teeth. They get triggered so easily.
What does the word mean to you? According to Robin DiAngelo, you're a racist.
Yeah, and according to... Oh, so you're asking for the specific definition? Wait. If I give you a set definition of racism, will you answer based on that definition? Buddy, answer the question. If I give you a set definition of racism, will you answer it in accordance with that definition?
If you define what racism is, I will answer it, but I'm not going to take a buzzword that... Like I said, people more qualified than yourself to answer this would accuse you of being.
No. The consensus academically is that there is validity to the term racism. It's really cute, by the way, that you come into this pretending that because one academic threw out one take on a term that's been used for hundreds of years to describe many different things, you think you've like gotcha'd me into not accepting the invalidity of a term.
Ask your question in plain terms.
Okay. Do you think that black people have any or people of color, non-white people, do you think that there is any inherent, intrinsic inferiority or superiority in relationship between white people and non-white people?
I know of no standard of evaluating one person superior to another. Holy
shit. All right, you can't... I mean, if you're this averse to answering direct questions, maybe we can...
Did you even hear my answer?
Yeah, you're averse
to... I don't consider any person to be inferior or superior to another person.
Wow, I'm glad to hear that. That's exactly what racists like to say when they obfuscate the fact that they support policies that make black people's lives worse.
If all people have equal moral worth, then what are you talking about?
Because that statement has nothing to do with a person's propensity to address institutional discrimination, which is the byproduct of racist thought.
Okay, but wait, institutional discrimination was what Robin DiAngelo was talking about when she said a denial of racism is racism.
Do you think just because you found one researcher that gives a definition of racism that you can trap me in?
Robin DiAngelo is not alone on this. Come on, man.
I'm aware of the fact that Robin DiAngelo is not alone on this, but you're suggesting that definition indicates that racism is a meaningless buzzword. I
don't believe any people are better or worse than any other people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so do you believe then that conceptually speaking, race is basically meaningless? It's just like skin color, and we kind of assign meaning to it, and there are some cultural divisions, but by and large, in an intrinsic sense, black people, white people, brown people are all pretty much online. Because that's the academic consensus in like the biological and anthropological.
I have no idea.
Okay.
You're asking me a question about biology? Is that this question's a biology question?
Well, so far as I'm aware, biologists have affirmed the fact that there are no substantial differences between different...
I'm not a biologist, so whatever. Ask a biologist that question.
Okay. Do you think it might be indicative of your defensive behavior that you're unwilling to answer even the simplest questions? Buddy, I'm suffused with academic understanding of the different meanings by which terms can be associated. But when somebody asks me, "Hey, are you racist?" I don't go in a 20-minute spiel explaining how one researcher used a term that would actually catch me.
What are you want to talk about ideas, or are you just going to accuse me
Dancing Distributist, going at it again, shuffling his way out of the question. Okay, look.
What question? I answered your fucking questions.
But it was like pulling teeth, and you gave me a definition that was meaningless.
I'm not here. Look. Give me an actual question. I answered your questions.
All right, you're right. You're right.
I'm not a biologist. What else do you want me to answer?
You're right. Listen, people accuse me of being uncivil. I don't know why. Listen, here's a good one. Why don't you
accuse them of things before you've even said hello to them?
Why don't you believe in egalitarianism? There we go.
I don't believe in egalitarianism because people do not have equal skills, abilities, and it's definitive from all biological research.
Do you think that when people call themselves egalitarians, they're saying that every single human being is equal in every single capacity?
I don't know, but what do you
Wait, you don't know that? Wait, you know all about the definition of racism.
Well, what do you mean when you say egalitarian? I've heard a lot of different definitions of egalitarian.
That broadly speaking, a person who is an egalitarian makes an effort to ensure that everyone, regardless of the characteristics with which they were born, has an equal shake in life. That people can be free of discrimination.
That's what I.
Well, okay, that's fine. Because I agree with that. I believe there will always be institutional discrimination, but I work.
So I've answered the question
on it anyway.
satisfactory.
Yes, but not quite. Because I asked you why you were an anti-egalitarian. Egalitarians don't believe there will one day be a world without injustice. They just fight to try and bring about that world.
Well, I don't believe all inequality is necessarily injustice.
Which inequalities do you believe are just?
Well, for instance, if you have a sports team, some people get cut. That's inequality.
Do you
not agree
when
with
egalitarians speak about egalitarianism, do they
Tell me
think
what
they're talking
you mean.
about
It's
holy
inequality,
shit.
though, right?
This is. Oh, you're dancing away from the question again, and
What
I do
haven't
like it because this is a very simple question.
I'm not.
This is the definition of semantic circle jerking.
Linked to all your definitions. I'm not telepathically linked to all your definitions. So you tell me what you mean. So you agree that people are not equal on the sports team, right?
No human being is equal holistically.
Of course, this is why I'm not an egalitarian. You tell
Egalitarians don't argue all humans are equal. They don't all humans are exactly 5'9" with arms at a wingspan.
So obviously, what are you striving for when you say egalitarian? Egality means equality.
Wow, you got it. Holy shit, you disproved egalitarianism.
Yeah, sure,
people are different heights. You did it, dude. People are different heights. Egalitarianism destroyed. Left wing destroyed.
Okay, but look, what do you mean when you say egalitarian?
When I mean egalitarianism, I mean people, broadly speaking, getting a fair shake to be free, to live a life free of discrimination.
I don't know. What do you mean by fair shake?
Okay, I'll give you practical examples because I feel like you're going to semantics your way out of every broad definition.
That total fairness is not possible, right?
Nobody believes total fairness is impossible.
Okay, so if no one believes total fairness is possible, what does fair shake mean?
Okay, how about this? In the United States of America, black people and white people should probably have about the same chances of getting a good job, meeting the same level of income, graduating from high school, having like these broad statistical.
White people don't have the same chances as other white people.
I'm sorry?
White people don't have the same chances as other.
Yes, but the average household worth of a black person in America is less than 2% that of the average white person's. So obviously saying there's inequality within white people as well doesn't really address the fact that there is a statistical...
You have no idea. Okay, fine. So you're saying that you want to rectify this inequality.
I would like to rectify
statistically
a wide variety of inequalities that I consider to be unjust. And the fact that black people have a statistically lower chance than white people of succeeding in the US, I would consider that unjust because they didn't choose to be born black, you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's lots of statistical inequalities. So we're saying that the black-white one is something that we definitely want to solve. I mean, that's fine.
I mean, that's one of them. Like, I could list probably dozens off the top of my head.
Okay, well, sure. And, this is the thing, right? We're gonna take on inequalities, and, that's fair enough. If you have a good solution to fixing this thing that does not violate other principles, then we can entertain that and see how far it goes. I think the problem right now is that no one has come up with a solution to fix this inequality problem that's at all reasonable. And
wait, that's not true. Inequality between black and white people in America is largely due to the legacy of slavery. We got ourselves into this problem. We know what needs to be done.
Whatever it's due to, no one has a solution for it right now.
Wait, yes, no, wait. Yes, we do. Wait, there are people with solutions.
Let me finish my contention before you.
Okay.
So I mean, I come from an area of this country that is entirely Democrat. The Bay Area of the United States. This is an area that is 110% progressive, and the inequality here is worse than anywhere. What policy should Berkeley, California, institute in order to fix inequality? How about we do the fix locally, and then when Berkeley fixes its inequality problem, not only between blacks and whites, but also between Asians and other ethnicities, it can show how a community gets total statistical equality between quote-unquote races, and then we can model that to the rest of the world.
Because there's no way a small community...
Berkeley, they talk endlessly about race.
There is no way a small community could ever ameliorate broad institutional... This is one of the
richest communities in the entire country.
Because a community is rich doesn't mean it's not subject to the policies, whims, and social inclinations of the entire world. We live in a globalized society. It isn't a village.
Berkeley, what size do you need world domination to fix the inequality in
No.
Berkeley,
Well,
California?
wait. I'm not a statist. I'm an anarchist. Yes,
Okay,
I
well,
believe
whatever.
that a one
So
world.
create anarchy in Berkeley and fix it.
No, whoa, buddy. You were very careful with definitions a moment earlier when it got you to wiggle out of being a racist. Let's be careful with our definitions
Are
now,
you still
okay?
accusing me of being a racist?
I mean, I think you fit my definition of one, but we don't have. If that
Why?
word offends
No,
you, if it
stop
upsets you,
there. I'm not going any further.
okay,
What definition do I match by my statements that qualifies me as a racist?
you are an
I'm simply
anti-egalitarian.
not going forward.
You don't
Well,
believe
yes.
in the validity or necessity of pursuing social policies which ameliorate differences between people
You
of
change
different
your
races.
fucking definition of racist.
No, I
Originally,
actually
you
have. Believe it
believed-
or not, there are actually a wide variety of things a person can do which will make them racist to me. Like if they run down the street with like an
great.
SS uniform, they aren't necessarily saying they don't support policies which will ameliorate racial differences, but
So
they
you
fit
can
a
change
different
your
category.
definition
No, it's not a
midstream. You can
different
put one
definition.
standard,
It's
I
a
meet the standard, then you move the goalposts.
This
on
is
me
a
5
multi.
minutes
Whoa,
into the
whoa, whoa, whoa,
conversation.
whoa! This is a wait, buddy. There are many things a person could do to fit under the racist. Do you really think that like there aren't multiple things a person can
definition
do?
of what this word means. I mean, if this word
Again,
is so malleable.
yeah, this word really
You're
triggers you, and it's
definitely
okay.
not racist,
Listen, dude,
but
I'm a
anything-
big libcuck. If you want a trigger warning before we engage in a discussion on a really simple, obvious socioeconomic...
No, I don't care. You can say whatever the fuck you want, but I'm not going to participate in just plain accusations with standards.
You can accuse me of anything you want, and I'll respond to the accusation rather than playing a semantics game.
It's not about accusations. I mean,
I didn't.
Are you listening?
You
to
asked
yourself
me
right
for
now?
my
Like, what the
opinion,
hell
and
are
I
you talking
answered
about?
with my opinion. You asked
said
me
you're-
if I
you're
still
not-
thought that
you're-
you were a
you said
racist,
you're
and I
not
said yes.
racist at all. You're not racist at all. Not in the slightest, with absolute certainty. Then when I brought up someone else's definition, you're like, well, I disagree with that. Then I asked you what you meant by racist. You gave me a definition. I demonstrated I wasn't by that definition, and then 5 minutes later, you changed it.
You did.
I have a feeling that no matter what I say in the stream, you'll accuse me of racism. But now, no matter what anyone else's definition of racism, no matter how academically qualified they are, no matter how
You did it.
progressive
You
they
found
are,
the one
you'll never
person.
consider yourself racist.
Yeah. Are you done? Again, we can stay
Look,
off these
I'm
terms
about
if they
to
upset
hang
you.
up, dudes. I'm about to hang up. So
I
you
want to
wanna
talk about the
issues.
issues, but you get really fucking offended. Dude,
I'm
listen,
not
people
going
call me
forward.
anti-man, anti-white, anti-Semite
fucking
all
care.
the fucking time. And
Well,
I
I don't
engage
care
with the
what
arguments
validity
anyway.
you
I don't
mean.
just
The
whine
validity
like a
means do
bitch
not
and
hurl
run out of the fucking
accusations
discussion.
at people. Look, I don't care what other people have done unjustly to
Well, you apparently clear
I mean,
that one
justice
fucking
does not
author wrote about the
justify
definition of
racism.
racism. You care about things very selectively, my friend. Why don't we talk about egalitarianism? Can't we talk
Okay,
about that?
what about egalitarianism?
Okay.
It's an impossible to achieve concept.
Do you think that
It
just because
oftentimes-
something
it
is
oftentimes
impossible to
blinds
achieve,
us
do you
because we
think
try to
just
think-
because something is impossible to achieve that there's no value in striving for it?
Not necessarily, as long as you don't do something stupid in the name of egalitarianism. As long as you don't say, oh, well, we have to pursue egalitarianism, therefore we're going to turn a blind eye. I'll give you a perfect example.
Please.
In the 1960s, there was this report called the Moynihan Report, in which the author, Moynihan, pointed out the fact that there was an enormous problem with Black fatherlessness. This was just at the start of civil rights.
Mhm.
And you know what happened? Because of egalitarianism, we couldn't address the specific problems of fatherlessness in the Black community. And this went unaddressed for almost 40
why?
years.
Wait, what? How
So-
how did
so, look,
egalitarianism keep us from
egalitarianism
addressing that
can
problem?
blind, like Jonathan Haidt said.
Mhm.
And the thing is I'm very, very cautious of abstract principles that are totally unrealizable, taking us away
You
from
believe in
economical
God,
policy.
dude.
If
I
you have
don't
a
wanna
way
hear it.
to fix the Black-white achievement gap, if you have a way to fix the Black-white wealth gap, you can implement it in a locality, and then we'll see that it's a solved problem, and then you can go forward and we can expand it up. But I think what progressives want is they want me to somehow say we have an unsolvable problem. We can't solve it in an area that's richer than any place else in the entire world, but give us more power. No.
Can we talk
Fix
about
the
what we
problem in a
believe
rich
rather than
location.
what you've read from other people? Because I can very easily solve this. The problem with Black
ahead.
fatherlessness stems largely from cultural factors, which stem from
Okay.
what?
Go ahead.
Stem largely from cultural factors, which are a product of over-policing and massive income inequality experienced by people in the Black community, especially in
Okay,
like
so-
inner city communities.
So but that's fine. I'd buy that. Perhaps I'd have to test it. So by this definition, if we depoliced a community with a fatherlessness rate diminish?
No, it's never that simple. However,
Okay, so
if
what-
we lowered,
so what
if
can
we,
we
but
do to
here's
fix the
my
problem?
proposal. Okay, because policy is complicated. I never give just these one-off answers. My suggestion to addressing the problem of fatherlessness in certain communities, which are predominantly African American, would be to reduce prison, reduce the school to prison pipeline, sort of the mechanic, the social institutions which feed into that, to reduce the amount of policing that goes on in those communities, and to invest in businesses there so black kids can go out there and get jobs rather than have to resort to crime or like drug peddling to pay for their family expenses. That way, slowly
you're
we'll
gonna
have a more
reduce
stable
policing in
family
an
unit.
area and also increase business investment.
Wait, could you repeat that
And
question?
be
I
sort
didn't
of-
hear it.
So you're going to reduce policing in a neighborhood, but also increase business investment. And
Do you
that's
wait?
hard to do.
Wait. Do you think that the over policing in black inner city communities is a product of a sincere socioeconomic need for those groups?
I don't know. I just want to know what you want. This is something that the people in specific localities can tell me, and I'll defer to whatever they say because I'm a localist.
Wait,
Now-
wait. You don't just trust some dude in Detroit to give you an answer for Detroit because he lives in Detroit. You trust experts who have
trust the communities
decades.
to tell me.
Wait, communities often make really bad decisions in their own self-interest. We live in a country of experts.
Okay, so who gets to make this decision about what level of policing a neighborhood has? Not the community?
In America, academics usually write papers that get cited by non-government organizations and lobbyists that push to have their bills put through the representative organizations that
Wait, you're
then
commending
vote
this?
on democracy?
You're commending that professors that live nowhere near a community should tell a community how it's policed?
Well, what part of what I just said sounded like the professor tells the community what they need?
Okay, who decides how a community is policed?
I just answered. It's a really broad question. No single person decides, unless you want to talk about like the police chief, but even they are subject to the laws passed by the representatives, who then get their information passed on to them by their assistant teams and by the citizens who write into them and by NGOs, which are sometimes fed into by academic groups. This is how democracy is worked for ages.
How about the community decides? The community gets discretional policing. Obviously, non-discretional policing can be determined by the city, and for the most part, it's determined by the state. But for discretional policing, the community decides.
Wait, you want a local community to decide the amount of policing it gets?
The amount of discretional policing, yes.
Okay.
They live there. They know what they want.
Don't you think that areas that are have a higher propensity towards criminality are going to vote to have no policing in them? So these problems in these areas will just get worse and worse?
Well, look, I thought you said you wanted less policing.
Did I say that I want... Whoa, I never said that I wanted fucking Detroit to vote on how many police cars go through their inner city neighborhoods. I said I want an expert-driven consensus opinion on broad sociological options. Yeah, we live in a country of experts. Yes, I'm talking to you over a computer. We live in societies that are borne out by literally thousands of experts that makes tiny incremental decisions.
Okay, so this is funny because I'm arguing that if a community feels that the police are over policing it, I'm the one saying that they should have the ability to tell the police to cut the discretional policing. You're the one saying that if the experts say discretional policing good, they get discretional policing whether they want it or not.
I tend to agree with what makes society better. No, it's really not. I believe in democracy, and I believe in people. I know you do because you're very stupid and you don't understand the contradiction here.
Well, at the beginning of this thing, you were like, "Oh my God, you're so big-brained."
Yeah, and as always, I have come in overprepared. Listen, this is very simple representative democracy. Why don't the people in these communities vote on representatives who they believe will carry in the constituency's interest when voting on the laws presented them by experts?
But what do you mean? You know for a fact that representatives don't always vote in line with the experts.
And I know for a fact that individual communities will very rarely unilaterally decide on sociological initiatives that will be to the benefit of the community.
Well, then they take whatever They make the decision. They live in a neighborhood. They should decide how it gets governed.
Yeah, I don't care for this. I'm not a localist. I'm not a distributist.
away.
I'm not a feudalist. I don't believe in this. We live in a country, and this country is part of a global economy. There are way bigger issues at play here than what the individuals in a given city think should be done in concerns to their city. And I don't want every single city in America having its own dumb fuck principalities as to what should and should not be going on. There's no irony present here.
Irony of this, right?
Please show me the irony.
The reason why we had this huge bump up of discretional policing in the Black community from the late 80s to really about 5 years ago is because there were a series of academic papers that came out called broken window theory papers, which created a consensus among criminal justice experts that the way that you cut crime is to flood Black communities with police.
For one,
that's what's created this entire problem.
For one, being familiar. For one, being familiar with those papers, I can tell you that they were not quite that simple. And for two, yeah, the system isn't perfect, but I believe that my system, the one we live in today, bears out better results than your ridiculous idea that every single community should be able to determine its own laws.
So you're defending basically the status quo.
I'm defending certain aspects of the status quo, and I think that certain things should be changed through the systems presented to us by the status quo. I am a Democrat. I do like democracy.
What do people get to make decisions about, and what gets automatically deferred to expert opinion?
Nothing gets automatically deferred to expert opinion. Experts write articles, and those articles are taken into consideration by the lawmakers who write laws. The propensity as to which laws people will support
are elected.
You're arguing against. Do we want to argue about democracy? I thought we were going to argue against egalitarianism.
I don't believe in democracy.
Okay, I know you don't.
I mean, I don't. Then why did you ask me whether I wanted to argue?
I did because we originally were arguing egalitarianism, but we can argue democracy if you want.
Look, democracy does. There's no will of the people. There's no guarantee that experts are going to get elected. So the people who make these decisions are either going to get elected by the communities where the laws get carried out, or they're going to get elected by money and power that comes from outside of those communities.
Well, it's a good thing that I'm. It's a good thing that I'm. Well, it's not actually. There's a. Oh, you might call it a third way. What if we look at the problems with this system, like the fact that businesses have a huge amount of control over what gets passed through legislation, among other issues? What if we take a look at that and the hierarchy of education, where only a select few people from the population are really able to get the credentials necessary to write these papers that affect policy and get into the NGOs and such? What if we address that by working on, some might call them socialist revisions to our system that flatten class inequality and make it more easy for people to get the education necessary to wait, what?
I said, I'm not like a neocon. I might agree with some of these
things. No, I agree, because I read on distributism. I feel like we have a lot in common here. The difference is that your modus operandi, the way by you function, or at least the political system that you represent, is, as far as I'm concerned, a form of, well, I can't really call it fairly neo-feudalism. I guess I would call it primitive anarchy, or maybe stupid anarchy.
I thought you said you were an anarchist.
I am. I don't like primitivism. I'm a modernist. You're a traditionalist.
Whatever, you can tell me whatever, you can call me whatever you want.
Are you not? I thought it was a traditionalist philosophy. I looked it up on Wiki. Are you saying Wikipedia lied to me?
I don't know what do you mean by traditionalist?
Generally people who reject the principles of liberalism, like, say, democracy and egalitarianism.
Okay, well, in that case, sure.
Okay.
So, look, I believe the decisions should be made as close to the people who suffer the consequences from those decisions as possible.
Okay, I don't disagree with that.
When a police regime comes in, the people who suffer in the neighborhoods that get discretional policing. My position is that they should be the ones to look at those papers, and they should be the ones to decide. And if it's representatives to decide, the representatives should be as close to the people who suffer as possible. I don't know what's feudalistic about that.
Well,
if you think
what if a town?
A really weird idea of what feudal Europe looked like.
No, I said I can't quite call it feudalism. There are some respects in which I would compare it to feudalism, but not in its localization. What about this? What if a town of mostly white people in the deep, let's say Georgia, southern town. What if a small town of mostly white folk decide they're tired of having coloreds running around their town? They don't like them. They smell bad. They look stupid. So they decide, in part of their localist principality, to expel this particular group of people from the population. Done completely democratically.
You can't do that. It's illegal under the current law.
Wait. Oh, wait, are we Whoa, don't you move the goalposts on me. I thought we were talking about what might be practiced under your system, and now you're saying it can't be done. You know what else isn't legal under current law? Voting for less police to patrol your community. We don't have a system for that.
There's been community policing practice.
Yeah, community policing is when you make a democratic initiative to slowly replace state policing. You can't just slip those terms by me and pretend that I don't know what they mean. Community policing is not the same as deciding that police patrol your neighborhoods less. Community
policing means that the discretional policing is in part controlled by the community, depending on the actual policy that's in place. But okay, look, I don't
policy. It's pushed democratically. It's not. No. You just put it out. It's pushed democratically through legislation that already exists. So just unilaterally for a community to decide that they're going to have less policing, they're going to take over the job themselves. That is illegal. That's illegal. So again, back to the example.
What? Look, let's just go back to your example. So you're saying, what, in this weird hypothetical example where we abolish the 14th Amendment and also we abolish eminent domain and there's no private property protections, could a democratic majority dispossess an indigenous minority of its land and kick them out? No, we don't have to
use hypotheticals that break existing laws. We can think about ones that don't break existing laws.
So there's at least three laws that prevent the government from seizing property.
I didn't think law was an issue, but sure, I can provide an example that it takes into account existing laws. Because now it's also not legal for a community to just decide police patrol their land.
Just ask your question.
Well, but you just posed a really stupid comparison where you made an argument in favor of reducing policing in a neighborhood, and then I gave a different. Whoa, no! You don't get to say something dumb fuck and then walk away from it. You made the argument that the community should be able to decide that less police patrol its community, and then you said
for 12 hours today. I don't need you yelling at me. Ask your question or I'll do something more productive with my time than listening to you get angry at a microphone.
Listen, I'm just having fun here, okay? How about this, all right?
Yeah, you don't
this is total...
Like
okay, how about this? So let's make a comparison that works here. I'm trying to make it. So you made a suggestion that a community might be able to act locally and reduce the amount of policing in there by voting unilaterally as a community, okay? Sure. This does go in violation with the bylaws of basically every province in America. However, what if we had a community that decided that they believed the fair use protection, or not the fair use protection, sorry, the protected classes within the United States of America should be shrunk a little bit, and that within their town, they should be able to deny service to gay or transgender people. Now, this was pretty recent law, and this is even being contested in some parts of America. But let's say that in a part of America where currently you cannot do these things, a community votes locally to initiate policy which would make it legal to discriminate as a business owner or as a landlord against gay or trans people.
Well, this is the bake the cake thing.
Yeah, if they wanted to go ahead and say that, hey, you know what, no more cake baking for gay people. We don't have to follow these people's...
If it's a service that is not essential, I'm fine with it, and it's a tightly held business. I think that there is an accountability for artistic discretion. Now, I would say that under our present system, not under some system that I redesigned where the culture is totally different, I'd say under our present system, I think the distinction should be made like this. Large corporations that present themselves as open public platforms or that provide essential services like food or housing can absolutely not discriminate against anyone, protected class or not. Right. Okay. So none of this like, oh, well, Muslims are a protected class, but Christians aren't. They can't discriminate against anybody.
Well, wait, Christians are. Wait, Christians are. Wait, you just made a false equivalence. Everyone is a protected class based on their religion, not just Muslims.
Okay, so none of this. How about this? None of this. Conservatives aren't a protected class, but or let's say conservatives aren't a protected class, but what?
Conservatives
are not.
Are not a protected class.
But sexualities are. And
yeah, but wait, because one of those things is what you are, and one of them is what you believe. There's a huge difference there.
They're both things you do. Look.
So is murder and eating ice cream.
I'm answering your question. We can talk about philosophical differences in how we evaluate these things before. So the large corporations that are not tightly held, that provide essential services or present themselves as open platforms can absolutely not discriminate, full stop, because they are essential. You cannot be a radio station and decide that conservatives aren't going to get notifications on a flood warning And you can't be Facebook and decide that either, because it's dangerous and it endangers people, puts people at risk. And then you can't be a hotel, the only hotel in town, and kick out all the gay people who want to come. Now, if it's a small, tightly held business that provides a non-essential good that has an artistic component, then you can use any amount of discretion as far as I'm concerned. I don't need to get served as a Christian in a Muslim cake shop because there's plenty of cake shops around here, and I'm not going to die if I don't get it. So that's the distinction I would make. Not over which classes are protected and which aren't. I think that's stupid. I think it's stupid and will inevitably lead to conflict. But I would make it under the size of the corporation, how tightly held it is, and the essential nature of the service and whether it presents itself as a public utility for the entire country. Those are the bases, and not this asinine idea of some classes being protected and some not.
Well, you did just outline the basic principles of protected classes, because you can wait, question, because this is important, okay? What if a person went into the lobby of a hotel and started screaming N-word, 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 and did like Seek Hail and Goose stepped across the lobby? I think we could agree the business would be well within its rights.
That's a behavior.
Okay, yeah. So what if a person wears a MAGA hat?
No, you can't. It's not unless the rules make a statement like that. But if you say MAGA hat, then you could say turban too, right?
Well, that's right. The thing. That's the thing. You could accept MAGA hat denotes nothing but MAGA political preference. But turban fits within the purview. Wait, you just interrupted me. Turban fits within the purview of religious belief, which is part of a protected class in America, whereas a MAGA hat does not.
I don't believe that there are protected classes and non-protected classes.
There are legally. It exists.
I know there are. I don't think there should be. Sorry. I do not believe that there should be protected classes, and not because it's ultimately subjective. It's ultimately subjective where you draw the line. Some belief systems will get drawn into the protected class, some will not. And so the question is, like, if the hat you're wearing is part of your gender identity, then it's a protected class in some states, and in some states it's not.
Well, no, there's nowhere that clothing items are considered a part of your protected class.
It'll become so silly because you will never be able to determine what's a protected class.
Well,
now.
You say that, but the laws around protected classes are not very much just... Wait. You say that, but laws around protected classes aren't this constant battleground of ambiguity as to what does and doesn't fit within it. Usually it's pretty clear cut.
They've changed 4 times in my lifetime.
How old are you?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Okay, wait. But when they change, hold on. Listen, that's not the same as them changing the parameters by which you consider something a part of a fair, a protected class or not. That's just adding people into the list.
Okay, that's fine. This is
you keep taking shots that don't make sense.
If you think you can draw a line down the broad category of human divisions and find out which one are the extra super special ones that need to be protected, and this will never be contested.
It's not about them being extra super special. You realize straight people and Christian people and white people and men are also protected classes, right? The category has to be placed on the corporation and not on the individuals being protected. To be clear, you realize these aren't super weird arbitrary lines. White cisgender straight Christian men.
You're not going to be able to figure out which are the protected classes and which aren't. You will never be able to do that. There are ideas being entered into protected classes that weren't even ideas in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, no, the existence and idea of trans people has been around for a while, and their inclusion into the protected classes list is by many people seen as just an extension of not discriminating against people based on their gender, which is already part of protected classes.
But that's a huge modification of what it meant to be. Originally, the protected class, originally when it was conceptualized, protected classes only covered things that you couldn't change, or that you were born, or that you were raised with, like a religion. Right now, they've changed to things that you adopt and discard during your lifetime.
Wait, like what?
I'm about to quit, man. Like, you can just stop fucking yelling, okay?
But like what? What is part of a protected class that you can just change and discard?
Your gender identity?
No. Oh no.
I know somebody.
I don't care who you know.
3 times.
I don't care. There is a huge...
change it.
Wait. You like facts. You like facts. You're a Republican.
Can you change your gender identity or not?
No, you can't. You can change your gender presentation, but you can't change... Okay, wait. Let me ask you. You like... Wait. You like facts and logic, right? We're a
No,
big
I
Facts and
don't.
Logic Ben Shapiro kind of guy, right? Listen,
I
right
hate
now there is a huge
like,
amount
do
of
some research.
consensus.
I hate Ben Shapiro.
Okay,
What the
I don't.
fuck
I
are you
was making a
talking
joke.
about?
Listen, there's a
No,
huge
you
amount
weren't
of
making a
research.
joke. You just don't. You have no idea.
I have no idea what.
Yeah, I have no idea what I believe, and you're not even listening to.
Well,
me.
I listen.
People,
I need to. I'm
I have a
trying. I'm
friend who's
desperately. You're
literally
so
claimed to have
mad.
changed her gender identity.
You're so mad, and I just want to tell you that there's medical consensus that being trans is something that's kind of hardwired into you.
Is being transgender identity? That's not gender identity.
Being trans is not in and of itself a gender identity, but it is a modifier to the conditions by which a person is part of a gender.
Okay, so I know somebody who's changed her gender identity 3 times.
I don't care. Why do you use anecdotes? You know that's bad math.
What do you mean? It exists.
No, okay, cool. There are black Nazis. I don't care about individual anecdotes. I care about statistics, data.
Do people change their gender identities? Yes or no?
Can you clarify the question for me, please?
Do people change
That
their
isn't
gender
clarifying,
identities?
that's repeating it. You asked me to be very specific with the term racism, but the question you're asking...
Gender identities is what gender they identify with. Do they change it?
What are you asking me whether or not they come out and say, like, hey, I am this... Wait. Why would you interrupt me while I'm trying to answer your question? Because, for instance, there are lots of people out there who are like straight, quote unquote, until they're in their mid-20s, and then they realize they've been in the closet gay. Would you consider that to be changing your sexual orientation, or do they just realize something they always were?
I think people change their sexual orientation.
Okay, then if you use that definition, then I agree. Yes, you can change your gender identity.
Okay. Well, there you go. So you can change these things.
Well, then you can change being straight and gay too, and that's part of a protected class.
Great. I know, and but this is why protected become very, very quickly something that you will never be able to get a legal handle.
No, it doesn't. These are actually, again, these are not argued upon in most.
The protected classes used to be like 3 categories when it came in. Now
yeah, it's been expanded. The world is getting more progressive. Traditionalism is dying. I'm sorry.
Any kind of identity you will have will be a protected class. This will become completely intractable soon. The onus really has got to be on the corporation.
This is the exact same slippery slope argument that conservatives make, that if you legalize gay marriage, people will be marrying their dogs. Just because legal codes get a little bit more complicated doesn't mean the fabric of society is dying.
I don't think you're going to be able to sustain this because everyone's going to be...
You literally just argued that an individual community should be able to democratically vote unilaterally, that there is an incredibly specific byline for which institutions can discriminate against which groups of people for which reasons, and you think an individual community will be able to produce that legal document.
What the hell are you talking about?
You literally just said that an individual community could choose to revoke protected classes.
No. I thought the law should be.
Wait, do you really think that the outline that you gave would not be subject to massive legal... You can't help yourself from talking. It's incredible. Do you really think that the law you just outlined would not be subject to massive arbitrary interpretation by scholars and lawyers after its production? What constitutes a necessary business? What attributes can a person be discriminated against for? What if you're very loud and obnoxious about something that is otherwise something you shouldn't be discriminated against for? These are very complicated systems, and you're asking for individual communities. It's like our present system, except
without the protected classes, basically.
Okay, what if the community doesn't want that and just wants to expel black people? Can they only do what's within the law?
I thought I already did.
It's a yes/no question.
You can't expel black people because you can't dispossess people from their property. Duh.
So we're assuming that property... for one, we already can. It's called eminent domain. We can already expel people from their property.
The only people... I told you there's only one specific class of corporations and individuals that can discriminate, and those were tightly held corporations or individual
What does tightly held mean? Can you provide me an exact
Yes, I can provide
metrics necessary?
An exact legal definition.
Please.
A tightly held corporation, and I'm whiffling this. It's a corporation that's owned predominantly by one family or one individual, and is attached almost exclusively to the personhood or family that owns it, rather than being something that has either an IPO or something that has a broad range of investors that are in it mostly for profit concerns and do not have tight connections to the company's founding or to its operation. That's what tightly held means.
And those corporations or businesses or municipalities or whatever should be able to engage in discrimination against people as long as it isn't for necessary goods like food or medical services.
If there's a tightly held corporation or individual proprietorship that provides non-essential services that can be procured elsewhere, then under my evaluation, that they have the right to discriminate. A Muslim halal shop should not have to serve me pork or whatever else I want. So the thing is you can, I don't care, I don't want to impose upon Muslims my religious beliefs. I just want to be left alone, and as long as it's providing a non-essential service, then I will leave them alone and they'll leave me alone, and that's just how it works. Now, if the community needs help, then Godspeed, help them out. But this is something.
Wait, that's not very compelling. Godspeed?
Dude, it's a figure of speech. Grow up.
Whoa, no, whoa, hold on, whoa, no. Don't misinterpret what I please.
You used a blessing that had the word God.
It had nothing to do with God. Whoa, please. I know you're very mad right now because your Christian rights are being infringed upon, but my problem there did not have anything to do with the use of the word God.
I don't care.
Okay, wait.
I don't care.
Wait, what don't you care about? What don't you care about?
I don't fucking care
about
you're
what?
Angry.
I don't care that you're upset right now. I didn't have a problem with you invoking God. We're not arguing about religion. My problem is that you just wrote off the marginalization of a community. Like, oh, God bless. Like, okay, oh, they're struggling. Oh, all right. My problem here isn't that you invoked God. I don't know why you're so defensive over your Christianity. My problem is that you wrote them off.
Godspeed's not an invoke. It's an expression that comes from the 19th century. It means good luck.
Yeah, good luck. So what are you going to do to help him?
Do you freak out when people say God bless you?
No, because usually when people say God bless you, they aren't invalidating the need to help a institutionally discriminated community.
How is saying Godspeed in our efforts?
You're right. Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. You're very room temperature IQ, so I know I have to lay this out for you. What? Listen to the semantics of this statement.
I'm done, dude. I'm tired of being insulted by working out.
I'm insulted by the time I took to talk with you. I am figuratively worse off in every conceivable sense. All right, they left the call. Good. God damn, that guy was fucking stupid. Holy shit. Conservatives get triggered so fucking easily. Man, they're so fucking fragile. Oh, the intolerant left can't hold up to debate. I don't like it when you yell at me. All right. Oh, God. Oh, what a fucking baby. All right, that was pretty fun. All right, let's go over the problems with his argument now, okay? Well, I've still got them fresh in my mind, okay? All right, let's do it. Okay. So, problem number 1, the idea that leaving all policy up to local municipalities for individual communities to, like, deal with, the idea that every one of these communities will be capable of serving its own needs without the help of external experts or without the help of participating in the broader national or global economy to make decisions that pertain not just to their own town, but to trade networks that expand across the entire planet, the idea that an individual community could manage this is fucking laughable. It is a comedy. I am guffawing internally at the suggestion that any individual community of people could do this. Secondly, even if they were able to do this, it would probably be because they rely on the group of traveling experts who go from constituency to constituency to help them set up. Because for some reason our country now allows individual cities to just determine shit. I don't know how. Do they all just get in like a town hall meeting and whoever yells the loudest gets it? Or do they vote on a representative? Do we maybe emulate the system of democratic representation we already have in America right now? I have no idea. And it's beyond me. It's beyond me. So even if we can somehow avoid replicating the basic facsimile of the system that we have nowadays in the process of local municipalities determining their own sort of like legal situation, what laws they follow, even if we avoided that, there would still be an adherence to expert opinion. Do you think your average fucking, like, town person has any idea what their town needs sociologically? Do you have any fucking idea how stupid that suggestion is? What if they're, oh yeah, well, ever since the manufacturing jobs went on out of here, we need more jobs, really. So what, are they just going to make jobs appear? Or would the appearance of jobs require the broader initiative of a larger corporation or a government initiative to try and revitalize the economy in that area? There's nothing they could do individually without relying on collaboration with other larger entities. And if they do that, they're starting to build their way back up to having a representative democracy again. It's so stupid. Holy shit. I thought, wasn't this guy supposed to be smart? Which one of you people told me this guy was smart? Who? I need to know. Somebody in my Discord, and I saw people in chat being like, you're gonna get owned on this one, Vosh. Jesus Christ. The man skitters his way out of the definition of racism for 10 fucking minutes, then tells me he's anti-egalitarian. Yeah, that fits within the definition of racism. Racism is an anti-egalitarian thing. Okay, all right. That was pretty good. Yeah. He has a manner of speaking that makes him sound smart. That's why he didn't like being interrupted, and it's why he didn't like the fact that I didn't just let him talk forever. You notice how often that guy tried to talk over me? I know I interrupted him a lot, but trust me, if I hadn't, that guy would have filled the whole void with his voice, okay? So I had to push it in there, okay? He's so tight, and I just had to shove the rhetoric in further. Yeah, that was pretty fun. What a fucking idiot. It's really nice actually, because it reaffirms my sincerely held religious belief that there are no intelligent conservatives. There just aren't any. There are none. They don't exist. They can't exist. It's antithetical to the things they believe in. Notice how that guy engaged in hyper-nuanced definitional parsing when talking about a term, racism, that might implicate him, but the moment he's talking about, like, defending his own values, just local communities should be able to vote on what they want. Okay. And he thinks that protected classes are this super nuanced, complicated, like, lawyers have no idea what's going on. Like, every day, like, the judge wakes up and they sleepily put on their glasses the note they've gotten from Washington. Hey, furries are now a protected class. And they slam the paper down. God damn it! Fuck! I gotta overturn all these cases. God damn. Jesus Christ. He thinks that this is like some super... The chat's filled with chudge because his fans are here right now. Just call them stupid. Have fun. But so, like, everything that he doesn't like or doesn't want to be associated with needs to be parsed down to the most minute, infinitesimal, like, oh, you said that I didn't meet the previous definition of racism, but now I'm racist because I'm anti-egalitarian? How many definitions do you have? Well, I don't know, my dude. A person can be racist if they say, I hate black people. A person can be racist if they never say, I hate black people, but they lynch black people. A person can be racist if they do neither of those two things, but they still walk on the other side of the street when approaching a black person, even in a nice neighborhood. A person can be racist if they do none of the three things, but they still vote on policies that institutionally fuck over black people. There are lots of things you can do to be racist. It's super easy. Much in the same way that there are a lot of different ways that you can be strong or heroic or smart. It turns out that descriptive adjectives actually have a bunch of parts that go into assembling the definition. Oh, man. God, that was fun. I was worried I would have to be too civil with that one, but he didn't deserve it. How are we doing? Can I check my I'll check my donations in a second. I'm riding on high right now. Talk about the trans thing? What trans thing? Is there a trans thing? No, he just said, like, you can change your gender identity, which you can't. But he said, by his definition, that a person who realized they're gay at, like, 15 turned from straight to gay, which is incredibly stupid and belies his ignorance of the subject. But using his definition, then yes, you could change genders. I wasn't gonna have that fucking argument with him. And then he got really mad. This is, again, the propensity for conservatives to victimize themselves is always really fucking funny to me. Because this guy said, like, oh, and if your people need help, God bless. Here's what I hear when that's said, okay? What I hear is like, hey, if you've got institutional problems that are fucking you over, good luck. Whoops. What are you gonna do, okay? So I have a problem with that because you're just saying, like, oh, if you're fucked, whatever. And that's part of distributist policy. They don't believe in any form of, like, welfare or social safety net. But then I call him out on it, and he gets really fucking triggered because he thinks I'm talking about the fact that he used a religious idiom. What? I don't know. I don't know if that was, like, him deliberately playing the victim or if he was stupid enough to take the opposite conceivable approach from that. I don't fucking know. That was good. I had fun. Can I look? I'm going to look at chat now. Let's see what chat's saying. How are we doing? How are we doing over here? He just wanted to leave. Yeah, he really hated being yelled at. Just came back from his 12-hour shift. Should have been me. Should have been able to do his work online and make a lot of money doing it. Vosh, are you a gender abolitionist? Yes. I think he's just used to debating 13-year-old Facebook atheists. Maybe. Do you think he's watching this and getting angry? If he isn't now, then he'll probably end up skimming through the video that I put out. Don't forget Discord chat. Salivala, I'm forgetting Discord chat. Get the fuck out of here. Are you pro-representative democracy? I thought you were an anarchist. Yeah, and I believe that the representative democracy should be when worker syndicates democratically elect their worker representatives on like a global scale, so that those people can collaborate and provide broad constitutory legislation. Being an anarcho-syndicalist and being a representative Democrat are not necessarily incompatible. God damn. All right, that was really fun. I had a really great time. Ooh, not an anarchist. It's delegates, not representatives. Fuck off. I don't care. All right. How are we doing? Again, I want to point out to you people, everyone who said this guy is smart, I return to you the question, what the fuck do you mean? Here, in fact, let's tweet about it now. Hold on. We're going to come up with a real antagonizing tweet on this one. Let's do it. This is what I'm here for, okay? No. There we go. Real passive aggressive. Just how I like it. Ooh. Go on my Twitter then. No one likes being yelled at, Vosh? Well, maybe he shouldn't say really stupid shit and then interrupt me when I try and ask him what he meant. I know you can't see the tweet. It's top secret. You have to go to my Twitter to see it, okay? It's like bonus content that you get for following me on Twitter. I think you could go at him in a less agitative way. It may be more effective. No, I don't think so. There was no way I could ever change a person like that's mind. It's not possible. The only thing that I can do is demonstrate power. And the power that I demonstrated was by showing him that literally every single fucking idea that he brought to the table was incredibly stupid. And if he wants to argue on that, I'll out-argue him and shout him down. Come into these debates with significant aggression, don't feel like it changes minds. No, there's no point in changing the mind of a person like that. You change the mind of an audience. Or, moreover, you change the mind of the fence-sitting moderates who watched the debate and thought like, that guy was really fucking stupid and he had his pants on his head the entire time. This guy had a wonderfully combed beard and was very intelligent. This suggestion that you need to be super nice and coddly with bad faith actors, which is exactly what he was, by the way he refused to parse the definition of racism. When I asked him, hey, are you a racist? And then he could have responded, well, I don't really know what that word means, but I don't believe there's anything inherently better or worse about being white or black or whatever. If he just said that, could have avoided the entire discussion. But instead, he wasted like 10 or 15 minutes of my very finite lifespan being like, well, what do you mean by racism? Well, actually, I read this one book by this one left-leaning author who said that you would fall within the purview of being a racist for saying you're not racist. So really, isn't everyone racist? Or is nobody racist? Who even knows? I don't know. Racism is meaningless. Oh god. Nah, fuck that. I'm not gonna be nice to people like that. Those people can go fuck themselves. Alright. Gender fluid people's genders change, and that's 100% valid. Listen, gender fluid people don't actually. I don't buy the argument that a gender fluid person is a man one day and the woman the next. As far as I'm concerned, they're gender fluid. Okay. Now, if you're fluid, if you move between those two things, that doesn't mean that either thing is more or less valid. But to say like that they're like what like. like, okay, imagine if the United States Census came around and a gender fluid person picked up the fucking thingy and they answered, and it's like, are you a man, are you a woman, or are you other? Would a gender fluid person who felt like a man that day choose man? I hope not, because that'd be really fucking stupid. They should choose other, or hopefully other would be like a bunch of other options, like agender or gender fluid or whatever the fuck. Polygender. Two spirits. To quote Destiny, I wish Nazis would just say they're Nazis. They'd be way easier to debate since we don't have to break down where we stand. Yeah. Guys, remember, conservatives always lie. Almost all conservatives are bad faith actors. There are very few that aren't, and the ones that aren't are usually too stupid to know why they should be. And the reason for that is because this guy got to waste a bunch of time at the beginning of the debate parsing out definitions and accusing me of falling under the same definition of racism that I would use, to avoid having to own up to the fact that he's a racist. He's an anti-egalitarian. Dab for flood victims in the Midwest? There we go. I did it.